Hallo, Kinder!
Yeah.
We did it! No, sorry.
That was great.
I did it.
Hey.
Anya, of What Adults Don't Tell You Before You Adult, one key integral part of the half that makes up this podcast. I said, hi, kids, in German, and I bloody smashed it, didn't I?
You did. You did a great job, to be fair.
I really hope that I got the intonation right, the
Let's
tone
face it,
of
you probably
voice, the accent. I hope I sounded as authentic as I could.
It wasn't very German-esque.
Was it not?
Accent-wise. Accent-wise, I wouldn't say it was very German-esque.
Hello. Okay.
I think you're sounding too northern now.
Hallo, Kinder.
Oh, okay. How are you doing, Anya?
It's a German northerner for you.
Oh, we're starting off on the ropes. Good start.
I am well, Tom. How are you?
I am good. I've had a whole ton of sugar today,
Good stuff.
which is bad, but it's good at the same time because I've got so much energy.
Woohoo! Are you still riding off the energy, or is it worn
No,
off now?
it's somewhat coming down.
Because that's when
sadly.
you have a sugar crash.
Yes,
So-
mid-crash, currently crashing.
And you get really hungry because your blood sugar spikes
Everyone, you want that sugar back in your veins.
and your body's like, hungry! Yeah.
My body's always like, hungry!
Same. That's why we have to eat before we record. Fun fact. Always have
What are you trying to say?
just had. Missing the just had dinner before we start recording. Isn't that right,
is a
Tom?
lie. That is a lie.
For you, not for me. I always sort myself right out. Treat myself like a queen. My body is a temple. Let's not bite Tom's head off because we are hangry.
For me, I get a message from Anya saying, Tom, we're doing the podcast now. I don't care if you haven't eaten. I don't care about you or your feelings. Get over yourself.
Never.
Every week. Every week.
Oh, what
Just
a
demands.
liar. You're like Pinocchio.
I like Pinocchio. Okay.
That's your nose growing.
So, Anya,
Some.
at the beginning of every episode of What Happens to Before You Adult, we have one key feature. And what is that?
It's called I Am an Adult But. So essentially, we come with an I Am an Adult But every single week on this podcast, which is something that has happened this week that was so far from being an adult. It's embarrassing, it's funny, but we can all learn from it and have a good giggle because we all may be adults, but sometimes we don't act like it, and it's okay. It's okay.
It is. It's heartbreaking, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I'd say it's funny.
That's what it is.
Gotta laugh at yourself. You don't laugh, you'll cry.
That's the motto of my life, to be honest. Actually, mine is laugh and cry. Two birds, one stone.
Time. I
At
don't
the
think
same
I
time.
know how to console you. I think I'd just be like, do you know what? There's a meter long ruler. Let's have some space. Stay away from me, you mess.
I think what you would do, you'd see me crying, just go, someone else's issue. Just walk away.
He's not mine. And
It's not mine.
we're not
Not my
together.
responsibility, that kid. Anya!
Oh my god, especially if you cry like that. Jesus.
Yeah, so,
So,
do you want me to go first? Do you want me to lead this?
of course. Yes, take it away.
Take it away. So, I'm an adult, but I went for a long walk today before work. And on my walk, there was a girl walking towards me.
Ooh,
And I looked at her and I was like,
you
that looks
looked at
like,
her?
I looked at her, I was like, that looks like Zoe, a girl that I work with. I was like, is that Zoe? Because I didn't want to carry on looking at her. I was like walking towards her and made eye contact. So I was like looking away because I'm embarrassed. And I was like, is that Zoe? I've got noise cancelling headphones on, so I have no idea if she said, hi, Tom, and I've just ignored her. So I'm like, oh, God, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to have to look again. I was like, I can't tell if I know you or not. I'm getting closer and closer and closer. I'm like, I was at the point of like waving. Like, it wasn't Zoe.
Oh no.
So for the past about 5 seconds of this walk, as she's walking towards me and I'm walking towards her,
Ugh.
I'm like doing this on-off eye contact, like, do I know you? I don't want to look like I'm staring at you in case I don't know you. Do I know you? I don't know you. I've made this weird. So I may be being reported to the police.
Well, that's the thing for guys,
for
isn't
being
it?
a right
It's
creepo.
like, yeah, because if you stare at a girl for too long, you're automatically put in the category of that guy is creeping on me. Whilst I think it's slightly different, and this world is so backwards. If a girl is staring at a guy, it's like, oh, she's checking me out. She's into me. It's like positive that she's looking at you for that long. Whilst the other way around, it's like, yeah, he's definitely a pedophile.
I think it's because of the track record, though. I don't think the world's backwards. I think men just have a back catalogue of events that
rep.
puts in a negative light.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame this girl who's not Zoe to be like, creepo alert. Just keep an eye on him, maybe put him on a register. I wouldn't blame her for that.
Yeah.
But it was uncomfortable because it's like, she looks like a spitting image of her. But I don't know.
And then you don't want to be rude, but then you also don't want to...
I didn't want to say hi, Zoe, because I kind of had a feeling it wasn't Zoe. So I was there like, I don't know what to do in this scenario. Do I know you? So I just like walked past. I was like, I didn't know, but I definitely looked at her for way too long.
So orcs. Oh well.
Very orcs.
These things happen, don't they?
So awkward. I then got into work and Zoe was sat there and I was like, so I know it wasn't you.
You've caused me so many issues this morning. And she
Text me
like,
where you are at all times.
What? Get me on Find My Friends now.
Do you use Find My Friends?
I do. I have only
I think it's
people
so
on it.
invasive. How many?
3 people. I've got my mum, my boyfriend, and my best friend. And it's brilliant because I can see what they're doing at all times.
Do you say add me or do they say add me? Mainly just the boyfriend one. That's the one I'm most curious about.
He was like, because he had an Android for so many years, he finally got an iPhone. He was like, oh, we can add each other and Find My Friends now. And I was like, sure.
Okay.
So
he wanted to know your whereabouts.
it was more just like a fun gimmick. I mean, yeah, he's a
He wanted to know your whereabouts.
protective boyfriend, just wants to look after me. I mean, I honestly could not care less if my close friends had me on Find My Friends. I think it's fine.
I don't use Find My Friends. I don't have anyone on it. But if you and your boyfriend both had iPhones for about 5 years, and then he turns to you and goes, "Hey, add me on Find My Friends."
Yeah,
would you be like,
bit
absolutely
weird.
not?
But then also, it's kind of like how this week, sadly, a girl's gone missing in London.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, for reasons like that, if it's suddenly just like, oh, like, actually, it might be a good idea if just like for things that could happen, scary things. I don't mind because I trust him and I know that he trusts me, so it would just be for reasons like that. But I can imagine some relationships where it's like, it's a moment of lapse where you're like, are you asking me this because of protection reasons, because you love me, or are you asking because you don't trust me for some reason?
Yeah. How do you bring that up?
Dunno. Not my problem. I don't have that problem.
See, since the recent occurrence of the girl going missing, I was like, maybe I should ask, but I know, I'm clumsy with my words. So I'm like, can you add me on Find My Friends so I know where you are? And she'd be like, are you just trying to be controlling and possessive? I'm like, oh no!
Yeah.
Bad guy. It's just, yeah.
One of those long-term relationship problems, right?
I will get into more of those later in the episode. Nice tease ahead. Have you got an I'm an adult but, Anya?
I do. So this week, I went to McDonald's drive-through. Thank you. It was like the biggest thing that happened on the weekend. And I asked for ketchup as my sauce, and they said fine on the little speakerphone back to me. Drove up to the window, got my Mackies, then pulled into the car park, and heavens forbid there was no Mackies. No, there was Mackies. Hang on.
I'd be livid if I ordered McDonald's. They gave me a bag. Here's a bag. Enjoy it.
I said that wrong. Cut. Pulled into the car park, and heavens forbid, looked into the bag. There was no ketchup in the bag. And I don't know about you, Tom. No, I know that you don't like ketchup, so it's not a problem. But in general, with like sauces accompanying you and your Mackies.
Accompanying you.
You need it. It just adds a little bit extra. I think it's a part of the meal. It's like if they didn't put the fries in there, you know? I'm annoyed. I asked for it and it's not there.
You asked specifically for it. That's what would annoy me.
And they said they would, and I know they're working on 2 different stations, but you know, they're a team and they didn't put it in it. Anyway, I'm not naming names. Basically, what happened,
Because you don't know them.
I don't know them. You know, mistakes happen, we're all human.
You would name and shame, but you don't know who they are.
Exactly. Obviously, we're sat in the car and the actual Mackey's isn't open. It's just the drive-through, so it's not like I can go up to the counter. And I was like, umming and ahhing.
So you just didn't have ketchup?
Well, no. This is the thing. I was like, do you reckon we could drive back round and, you know, swing past the window? And my boyfriend was like, no, we're here now. We're eating the Mackey's. Like, get over yourself. And I was like, I'm not getting over myself. Got out of the car, walked up to the drive-through window and said, you forgot my ketchup.
Oh no, you didn't even like approach it as, hi, sorry to disturb you, but could I have some ketchup?
Well,
You just said,
you know.
forgot my stuff here.
No.
Figure it out.
I am British. There was some fluffy, really
Nice.
sorry to, you know, come up to your window. Not in a car, but just came in the car and you forgot an integral part of my order.
I thought you were coming out going, oi, you bleeping bleep. What is this? I asked for some bleeping. Yeah, that's how I imagine always you just approach anything.
No, you have to be kind. Approach
You in the
things with
library.
kindness.
Oi, I want this bleeping book. Like, oi, calm down. We're volunteers.
Is that what? I never volunteered in the library.
No, I said they're
Oh,
volunteers.
they're volunteers. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, we're not in the library. We're at McDonald's drive-thru and they forgot my ketchup. So I'm an adult, but I walked up to the McDonald's drive-thru window, walked up because they forgot my ketchup and I can't eat McDonald's without ketchup.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
Just have McDonald's without ketchup.
It's so dry. So
Also,
dry.
I haven't ever had an issue, but what you should get is car ketchup.
Car ketchup.
Ketchup that stays in your car.
I will consider it because I...
Car chop.
Oh, gosh. Okay. And that's where the I'm an adult butts stop for today, kids.
Oh, I ruined it.
Boo.
What are we talking about this week, Anya?
So this week, Tom, we are chatting about long-term relationships, aka those relationships that last for, I'd probably say over a year is like a long-term relationship. That's where I would, you know, put the stamp on. You are now officially in a long-term relationship.
So where you'd say the honeymoon period ends
is when you're in a committed, loving, long-term relationship.
So there's no ground. I know we're rehashing this argument from the other day, but there's no middle ground between honeymoon period and long term.
What is that other part? Please give me the name because I have not heard.
Relationship, dating.
That's during the honeymoon stage. You're dating and in a relationship in the honeymoon stage. It's not just
No, the honeymoon stage is the nice part for like a month and a half.
We're not going back into this. Honeymoon stages are different lengths for everyone, and I luckily got a whole year, and it was.
That's not how it works.
Bliss. Anyway, we're talking about long-term relationships and the parts of a long-term relationship that are good, are bad, the traits that make long-term relationships work, and just should we be in a long-term committed relationship? Should we be in a monogamous relationship or should we be
monogamous?
What did I say?
Monogamous.
Will you say it again? You've frozen.
It's fine. We move on. It's not like tortoise.
Monogamous.
It's not like tortoise. We move on.
Monogamous.
You've frozen.
You frozen.
Yes.
Monogamous.
Yes. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now, but you froze. You're back
Grand.
now. I'm going to save this so we don't lose it. Should we be in a monogamous relationship or should we be polyamorous? You know, like why did that come about? Should we get married one day or is it outdated? So many things to discuss. I don't even know where to start.
Pick a place to start.
Well, what do you think about long-term relationships? Like, what is your general thoughts on them? Do you love them? Do you like them? Do you not care for them? I mean, I kind of know the answer, but for everyone that doesn't know your relationship status right now.
I like them because you get to be comfortable in it.
See, that's something that I really like about long-term relationships, but that's also, you know, when people talk about, oh, but you know, then it just becomes comfortable. Like, I feel like
It
the
gets
term
boring.
comfortable is just associated automatically with boring. But
Yeah, because
I
you don't want to be
like
comfortable in
it.
life because you need that chase, you need that drive.
But do I need that in my relationship, or can I
See,
come
that's what I
home
think.
and be like happy, know where it's all at, know what it's all about? It's just chill. I
What
don't.
it's all
I
about.
don't need that like up and down
Mm.
chasing. You know, it's just I don't need that much excitement in my life.
No, exactly. I know. I've now been with my girlfriend for 5.5 years, and I know what subtle things mean now.
Good.
Like if
After
she's off,
5 years.
if she's in a mood, I can have like, oh, it's probably because of this or something like that. I can now work it out
Yeah.
just looking at the issue or reading the text or whatever. Whereas before, I'd be like, can you spell it out for me? What's the issue? What do you need? Do I pat your head? Do I not pat your head? Is that insulting? I think I've insulted you. Have I made the issue worse? I've made the issue worse? Okay. Have a great day. That
See?
type of thing. I always make the issue worse. It doesn't matter. 5.5 years on, I still make that matter. Imagine you're in a bad place and you see me. My face is the thing that pops up. You're like, when it rains, it does pour. And there's me going, hi, you're right.
Yeah,
You'd
but
hate it.
she chose you, Tom, and she's still with you. So clearly, she likes
By
seeing your face
accident.
in those moments.
By accident, Anya.
She said yes. She's still there. She
Didn't understand the question. That's my association. She was like, oh, I'm bad at these pressure positions. Yes, fine, whatever. What's the easiest answer here?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like being in a long-term relationship because it is. I don't want to say easier, but it somewhat is easier because you know their traits and their foibles.
Yeah, like you said, those games and those mind. I don't want to say the F word, but those mind. You know, you can insert the word there. It's just when you're starting to get to know someone, yeah, when you're just dating and you just don't really know them and then they're in a bad mood and it's just constant questioning, like, was that my fault? Should I? And you just don't know. But when you're in a long-term relationship, when you've had that, like, experience of that person, you just know when they're good, you know when they're bad, and you know why they're in those good and bad. And it just makes sense now, you know?
Is it normally you? Are you normally the reason why they're in a bad mood?
No.
Because you're the main reason I'm in a bad mood.
Oh, that's nice. No.
Anya, please, I just want to have dinner before we record.
You can.
No.
I do. I make time
No,
to
Tom.
dinner.
It's late.
I like long-term relationships, but I don't know whether they have always been a thing. Like, as humans, we are animals. Like, and the term primates kind of makes me cringe, but
Because of monkeys.
yeah, but we were, and I know that we've evolved a lot, and you know we've built a lot around us that has changed us, and we've learned, and we're more intelligent beings. However, we still have those instincts, and we're still animals at the end of the day. And I don't necessarily think we were put on this earth just to stick with one person our whole life. At the beginning, but now I think that society has built up so many social constructs around us. It's so difficult not to have that view and to go about life. Like, it's more challenging going out life just on your own than it is with a partner, and we'll get onto that. But I want to know, like what do you think about being in a monogamous relationship, and what do you think about polyamorous relationships?
I think having one person's much easier than having more than one person.
Yes.
Because I need to think of what triggers the other person less, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to learn so many things that one person likes and another person likes, and if I've also got a third person, it's all too much. If I can just know one person inside and out, it makes my life 1,000,001 times easier than knowing, well, this person likes this, but this person doesn't like this, and this person sometimes likes this, but I can't deal with it.
Some people like that because it's like
how
it's different. They're not tied down to one person that has those views and it has those personality traits. They get like the vast range of different emotional humans.
I get that. There's like, for me, there's things that I would like to do that the girlfriend can't do, and then I haven't got like the boys or whatever who'd also like to do it. So, like, let's say there was a milk chocolate shop opening up,
Okay.
and the girlfriend's lactose intolerant, so I can't bring her because of the milk chocolate. And my boys would be like, oh, can we not just go to the pub and watch the football? And then I'm like, oh, if you have the second girlfriend who's not lactose intolerant, that's the dream place.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's the only reason why I'd think having a second girlfriend would be great, is because you can do romantic things that you can't do with the first one with the second one.
And then there's the big other thing, which is probably the main reason as to why people have polyamorous relationships, which is you get to have sex with multiple, if not several people, different people, within the same amount of time, or
I
around
don't know
the
if
same
that
time.
appeals to me, to be honest. I have one. Don't need to be greedy about it. Like, you have one milkshake. Do you need a second milkshake at the same time? No.
But I think, if we're putting it in milkshake terms, it's like, okay, so I've had a crunchy milkshake, which is superior milkshake.
The greatest.
It's amazing. I think we're on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, I'm fancying a strawberry cheesecake milkshake.
That sounds disgusting, but okay.
But some people might like it. It's very different. Sometimes you might just want something
a palate
different.
cleanser.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's exciting because it's like, I'm not having a crunchy milkshake today. I'm having something different that I don't know about, I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's that excitement value of something different. It's new.
But what about if you have the crunchy milkshake every day and you go, great milkshake, can't go wrong with this milkshake. You then try a strawberry cheesecake milkshake, you're like, actually this wasn't great. So you go back to the crunchy milkshake. What have you gained apart from trying something new once?
Yeah, true. And that's why people cheat and then regret it.
Yeah, exactly. And I know if that was okay, it would kind of defeat the purpose of my expression. But I think if you're happy with something, why change? Or why add?
Yeah.
That's where I'm getting with this. And more than happy not having more than one.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
What about you? Because it sounds like you disagree with me.
No, I agree with you. I just think it's interesting how humans work and how we've evolved, and whether we've evolved in terms of biologically and we no longer feel the need as primates to sleep with other primates, that we're just content with one person, or whether it's actually that society has brainwashed us through growing up and being told this fairy tale that, like, you grow up, you have a white picket fence, you get married, you have children with that one person, you grow old, and it's a whole love story. Whether we've just been told that, so then we've grown up with that opinion, and now we're just kind of stuck with it. And it doesn't just end there. Like, once, like, society in more adult ways confines you to being in a committed partnership. For example, combining your wealth, you're more likely to be able to get a bigger mortgage, a bigger house, basically just become more successful in life and just have a more outlandish life because of money. And that's just one example of so many. So I'm just wondering whether if it hadn't been for the way that our society has evolved and our culture evolving, whether we would still think like this, or, you know, maybe something else would have happened. Maybe our society could have taken a different route, opened a different door, and maybe we would all be in polyamorous relationships. Or maybe in the future we'll break this all down and go, do you know what? Marriage is so outdated, because it is. I don't know. It does. I love the idea of getting married, but actually thinking of the process of it and what it actually was about and why we still celebrate it now is confusing.
Okay. So if your boyfriend turned to you and said, I want a polyamorous relationship, what do you say?
No, absolutely not. He's not allowed that.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying that.
Why?
I'm not saying that I disagree with monogamous relationships. Like, I like it and I'm comfortable with it and I'm happy with it, and I wouldn't want to be in a polyamorous relationship. I think mostly because I like having him to myself. Like, I am greedy.
Selfish.
I don't want to share him. He's mine. Like, it makes that
Possessive.
relationship. Well, I'm not that possessive, but like
No,
makes
you're allowed
that,
to be.
It makes that relationship special when it's just like me and him, and no one else has sex with him. It's just me. Like I'm the only person that gets to do that with him. That's special.
Yeah.
It's like sharing a secret with a friend. Like it just
Yeah.
makes you bond on another level because no one else is a part of it. I wouldn't want to share that with somebody else. That's probably one of the main reasons. And also, like, jealousy is a big part of it. I think that you probably just get jealous. And then that's the other thing. It's like, if
he gets more girls than you get with guys,
well, no,
you see it as a competition.
Well, yeah, but no. I was more so thinking about how we as humans and our primal instincts, like, yeah, we might have instincts to go and have sex with other people. Like, I'm not saying that I am a saint and that he is a saint. Like, I'm sure that you have also, whether you want to admit it or not, have been in a bar, your girlfriend's not with you, and a girl sits next to you and starts making conversation, and she looks really fit, and you're like, you look really fit.
They make conversation with me. I'm in a pig t-shirt and they're making conversation with me. Sure, okay, let's run with that.
You're not gonna have sex with her, but that's your primal instincts kicking in, where you're like, I'm attracted to you, but I'm not gonna get with you because that would be wrong, and my moral compass, which has been established from society, is telling me not to, so I'm not going to do that. However, your primal instinct is, you look hot, and if I wasn't in this this relationship that has been established by society, I would like to sleep with you. You know, like that's the underlying current that I'm just it's just a thought, you know.
But then if that is, I don't know if I have that thought as often as it sounds.
Oh no, me either. Because also it's like the person that you're with is better in so many ways.
Yeah.
And you have a biased opinion of them. Exactly.
So I think it doesn't happen that often. So it might happen maybe 3 times a year or something. But it's not for me, you know. It's also not, people aren't approaching me in my silly t-shirts that often. Not many girls go, oh, Space Jam, okay.
Big sticker on you saying, stay away.
Stay away, have a relationship.
Warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
who knows who she's got around? She knows people.
Exactly. But a good way of...
Sorry, before we move on, can I ask this question?
Go on then.
So, he says he wants a relationship with more than one person.
Oh, you're talking about my boyfriend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that a deal breaker? Do you go, okay, well, it's not working out then?
Yeah, no. Piss off.
So there's not like we can try it type thing?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not. Because then I just think my automatic reaction to that is,
bored of me, wants to move on.
Or am I not enough? That's my initial reaction. And yeah, I think in a relationship you want to be that person's everything. And I think if they ask to bring someone else into the relationship, it's almost like I'm not getting everything from you. And if you're not getting everything from me, then I'm not doing my job properly, or we're clearly not meant entirely for each other.
Yeah.
That's my...
I was just curious. If you'd be like, we could try it. Then he goes, actually, no.
The relationship ain't that stale.
Well, that's not what I've heard from him.
Oh.
You know how often I'm talking to your boyfriend.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, clearly.
New podcast coming.
Yeah. Anyway, this I found really, really interesting, which is from a psychologist who argues that we are meant to be polyamorous.
Okay.
Basically says that we as humans did not evolve to be sexually monogamous species, and that is evidenced by the fact that we rarely only have one sexual partner for our entire life, which is true, because before you settle down with someone, you know, that's where the expression, you know, sow your wild oats and find the one and blah 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 blah. Well, maybe that's a bit outdated now, but sure. And then he goes on to say that having one partner at a time isn't monogamy. It actually fits into the category of serial polygamy. Did I say that?
Okay.
Polygamy. I don't know how to say that word. Anyway, you get what I mean. So essentially, what he's arguing is that all of us who are saying, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm monogamous. I'm in I believe in monogamy. I wouldn't ever have like 5 people at a time. He's basically saying that actually everyone is a serial poly.
Well, not necessarily.
Why are these words hard?
I know, that's why I haven't been trying to.
I am a serial polyamorous. I don't know. You know
Sure,
what
let's
I
go
mean.
with that. Let's go with that.
Essentially, he's saying that we are all serialists in that category,
But
and
what
that we're
happens-
liars.
What if you've been with your partner since you're like 14? They're the only person you've been with.
Well, then sure, you're in a monogamous
Then take that,
relationship.
scientist dude.
But
You don't know nothing about nobody.
we've got to agree on the fact that maybe in the olden times you would only have ever one person that you sleep
Yeah.
with, but nowadays
It's less likely.
The percentage is probably so small of people
Who
that
you
have
go for.
only slept with one person their
Yeah.
whole life, and it's fine if you have, but it's hard to come by these times, isn't it? Because people do like to
Is
have
that a
sex,
pun?
and it's hard to come. Oh, shut up! Because people just don't have the, I guess, pressures of only staying with one person.
Yeah, you don't need to. I don't know why I
Exactly.
said that.
Did you wanna?
I had nothing more to add to that.
Okay, cool. So Tom, I want to know about your opinions on marriage, and I know that you're in a long-term committed relationship,
Yeah.
and you love her and you're happy. She could be the one, but does that necessarily mean that you need to get married?
So this is a fun story actually. So
All right,
I've
do
always been down the very canonical. You're born, you go to primary school, you go to secondary school, you go to sixth form to university, university to job, family life, blah 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 blah, die down the road.
Mm-hmm.
That type of scenario. You got your book pre-written for you, and so you always go, yeah. Imagine down the line, I'm going to get married, but me and my girlfriend, we've not lived with each other before. Like we've gone on holiday, stayed round, blah 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 blah. How we've not ever been in the same house with one another for more than a week.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't really an answer to your marriage question, but do I imagine myself being married to this person down the line? You don't really know that until you've lived with them. Like, our chemistry, we click, we get on with each other, we know each other really well. But until you actually live with someone, we might not be compatible life-wise. Life-wise? Live-wise doesn't make any sense, you idiot. Life-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that I'm like constantly conscious of,
Mm-hmm.
is what happens when we move out, share a place, and we don't get along. That will be a real weird rift.
Definitely.
But back to your initial question, do I see myself getting married ever? Yes, but that's because of my life being on that path of born, school, education, work. And it's just a nice way to wrap it up.
Ends there, does it?
I'll wrap up. Yeah,
Nail in the
married,
coffin. And
dead
done.
down the line. Exactly. And
Like, work here is finished.
but the statistics of divorce is terrifying. That's what I think puts me off. So it's the same thing about having a kid, is the chances of having a kid who has different issues such as like learning difficulties,
Yeah, that's terrifies me.
mental issues, social issues, doesn't get along with people. Like, it could be perfectly normal, but the social skills and then just not accepted by people at school. That
Yeah.
type of thing terrifies me,
And
because I'm not good at consoling people, especially if it's not my own offspring. My spawn is what I'd call it. But that's the thing I'm most worried. I marriage, sure. I think my biggest fear is kids, and if I have a kid, because I'd like a kid, maybe one, just the one. Call it Tom Jr. Call it TJ, Tej for short. And yeah, what if he's got like X, Y, and Z? And that's the big fear of mine.
yeah, but these are things that you have to take the risk, otherwise you're never going to know, which we did an episode on this. And it's the same with marriage. Like, you're scared that marriage can lead into divorce, but unless you get married, you're never going to know. there's no crystal ball that gives you the...
But you won't get divorced if you don't get married.
This is true, and it could save you a lot of money. However...
Yeah. You could just live your dating life until death.
Yeah. However, financially, it makes more sense to get married because all your names are combined on the documents. Rada. It's just a combining, which is still a thing that happens today, but that's probably like one of the only things that makes sense still in marriage. That was a reason for it at the beginning, because at the beginning it was all about how, very sexist, but how your families are combined, and usually it's like a trade-off. It's like, we'll give you our daughter if we combine families, which means that we can combine business, which means that we can combine wealth. That's essentially why the father walks the bride down the aisle to the groom, and it's called giving away, because you're literally giving away your daughter to the new man that she's going to be living by. That's why you change your name. So that does make sense that your names are still on documents and stuff, and that's a good reason as to why you get married. But the whole reason for it at the start, it's almost like back in the day, it wasn't marriage for love, it was marriage for money and wealth and status, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Gotta marry up.
I'm wondering whether we should still be getting married, because those are just such outdated views. And then obviously there's like...
I think it's also a tax write-off. I think when you get married, you don't have to pay as much tax.
Potentially. Sign me up. Taxes are... But also, you know, back in the day, religion was huge, and there was lots of pressure from religion. Religion is power. They basically had everyone underneath their thumb. So there wasn't really any option. But also a reason as to why marriage was popular back then, and there were less divorce rates, apart from the pressure of family keeping you there because otherwise you'd ruin the businesses that they were trading off on, and also religion, which is obviously really scary. You didn't want to upset the priest back in those days, is also because people didn't live as long as we live now. You know, like back then, most people wouldn't live past the ages of 40, 50, 60.
But they'd also be married at 14.
True, but there were so many plagues and so many illnesses. Like, medicine wasn't as huge as it was now. So saying till death do us part, it's almost like we really have no idea how long we're going to live. And I know that we don't know now how long we're going to live, but it's almost like, you know, this is probably going to end pretty soon. It could do. You could die from the bubonic plague, and I could die because I get into a car crash, have my leg sawed off, and the medicine isn't upgraded enough to fix me.
You okay?
I'm fine.
You're going to die of the plague, Tom. I'm going to be in a car crash. Oh, it's all going bad. Are you a clairvoyant? Have you seen something? Do you know how I die?
No. I would hate to die in either of those ways. I'm just saying that back then, they weren't married for as long. They didn't have to put up with each other for as long. And we all know that people change and evolve during time and with life experience. So the person that you get married to at 20, the people that we're with right now, are they going to be right for us in 40 years? Is it okay to have that commitment made in your 20s?
So that is crazy. That's the crazy part, that we were both you and I were both in our current relationships when we were 18. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That if we die at 90, let's say, that's 72 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. Like, I've only got a finite amount of jokes. Just kind of realise I'm boring after that. I'm like, oh
realised
no.
already.
Well, I still like to keep it fresh every now and then and forget a new one. Like, hey, this? She goes, oh my god. And then I just tell it to her about 50 more times. But yeah, that's the thing, is, let's say 72 years, will you get bored of someone in 72 years? Because I'd get bored of having a crunchy milkshake every day for 72 years. That's a long time for a milkshake.
Yeah,
at some point you might go, maybe I should try something different.
And your taste buds change as well, also, as you grow up.
I'm not too sure if you're following my analogy.
No, I am. I'm using that analogy still. But then you grow up, and you know, when you're a child, your taste buds really want. Not that we're talking about children with this, but it's just an example of when you grow up, things change. Like your taste buds, when you're a child, you want sweet things, and then when you grow up, you want savoury things more often than not. So it's the same with that. It's like you evolve, things change, you mature, want different things in life, like have a midlife crisis. I don't want to do podcasts anymore. I want to do midwifery. You know?
Midwifery. Well, I told you a story about midwifery. God, I'm so embarrassed. So this is a nice tangent. So my whole school went to this university open day thing where all these universities go to this one place.
This story.
Okay, well, we cut this then.
I remember this story.
Good stuff.
Just saving you time.
Thank you. Saves everyone time. I don't want to say the same conversation. This is why I'm worried about marriage, because I only have a certain amount of stories.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom, marriage, what do we think? Do we think that it should stick around, or do we think that actually it's a little bit outdated, a bit corrupt, and doesn't really make sense for how we live nowadays? Like, is it okay to promise somebody that you are going to definitely be with them when we can't foresee the future?
Yes, I'm still down for a wedding. I'm still down for someone taking my name or me taking their name. Or double barreling the name. Would you double barrel your name, or would you take their name?
I like his name better. Me and him spoke about this conversation on the weekend because we were talking about.
Is he going to propose?
No, we were
Is he going to propose, Anya? Oh my god!
Bit too soon. We were talking about how marriage is outdated on the weekend, and how, you know, back in the day the woman would take the man's last name because you're entering his family now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, some men are okay with double barreling the name, but wouldn't take the wife's name as their full surname. And he was like, I'm not that proud. If you had a nicer surname, I would take your surname. Because we walked past a graveyard, and there was this grave, and
sounds like a really romantic date.
So the last name was
McDonald's and a graveyard. Woo, boy.
The surname was Longbottom. It was like
nice.
Lucy Longbottom, rest in peace.
From Harry Potter.
Was that a Harry Potter name?
Yeah.
Lucy Longbottom.
No.
Oh, Neville Longbottom. Yeah. Anyway, I said if your surname was Longbottom and my surname was Pierce, would you rather take my surname or double barrel or keep your surname? And he was like, I would definitely take your surname. I don't know why men are still hung up on surnames.
So, I can tell you why I would prefer her to take my surname.
Go on then.
So, I am the last male Humphrey. So if the Humphrey surname remains on our line, because I'm sure there are other Humphrey surnames from our clan, if we want that name to carry on, she'll have to take my surname. All the kids have to take my surname.
Yeah, true.
And then the Humphrey brand stays running.
Very
Otherwise, the name dies out with me, which might be a good thing. Me and my traits die here. Maybe I shouldn't have kids, but that's the reason why I would want her to take my surname, because my dad has a brother who only had girls.
Yeah, you have no male cousins.
Yes,
I
haven't got any male cousins, and I've got a sister, so I'm the last Humphrey running.
That doesn't make sense.
Alright, so it would be nice for her to take my surname, but if she said no, I wouldn't be like, oh no.
Would you double barrel?
Yeah, I'd double barrel.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Which I'm just thinking which way around, but I don't want to expose.
It'd probably be Humphrey first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't expose her surname. She just doesn't like being spoken about on the podcast as
is.
Associated. I don't blame her. Yeah, so that's why I'd want my surname to be kept, just so there's a chance that the Humphrey brand carries on moving.
That makes sense. I get that.
But yeah, I'm happy for a double-barreled name. It's just if it becomes double-barreled, when does the double-barreling stop? Or will it always then become Humphrey blah blah blah?
Because this is a new thing, but that's actually happening with double-barreling names. But then, what if down the line, people
the first name? Let's say you and I.
Yeah.
It goes Humphrey Pierce.
Yeah.
Would it down the line let's just go by Pierce's surname? And the Humphrey gets chopped and moves on.
Yeah, people can chop and change. And also, what if down the line, the next, let's say me and Alex, for the sake of surnames, because he doesn't care. So Pierce and Mancini. If it's Mancini Pierce, and then our daughter gets married to a man, and his surname is Smith, and then it's like Mancini Pierce, but he wants his name on it. So Mancini Pierce, and it's just long. I never really thought about that, but that's kind of a problem. Like, we're creating a little mini problem. This new
but it'll be
generation.
Down the line's problem.
Yeah, true. My name sounds swish. It's fine. I don't care about your quadruple barreled name.
Your grandkids will have quadruple barreled names.
Goodness. Yeah, I never really thought about that. Interesting. Very interesting. Maybe it was more simple to just stick with the olden day tactics.
Just take his name.
Take the name.
Take his name, Anya. So, okay, here's a question for you. When is the perfect time, in your eyes, to get married? At what age do you want to be married by?
Yikes.
Are you going to say 25?
No.
Clock's ticking there, pal.
6 months? No, he hasn't even asked the question.
God, you're 25 in 6 months. You're old.
I know.
Yeah.
I would say late 20s, early 30s.
Okay, so within 5 years.
Yeah, then we would have been together for 10 years. That's a very long time. But
so
I don't see
when
any
you say
rush.
10 years, do you expect to be married before 10 years of dating?
I don't really mind, like, just whenever it feels natural. Also the means as well. Like, I don't think I want to be engaged for 3 years and no wedding. It's just kind of like very anticlimactic, and then it finally happens and it's like, oh, we're finally here.
Well, people are having that because of COVID. People can't have weddings anymore.
I know, but I just, in terms of,
if he proposes now, you won't be able to book a place until in 2 years' time.
oh God, I don't envy anyone that has had to postpone their wedding. It must be an absolute nightmare.
You're not envious of people who've had to just change all of their plans?
Absolutely not.
That's a shocker, that.
Yeah, I know, right? But what about you? Quickly, tell me.
Quickly?
Quick.
Oh.
I've got things to talk about.
Oh, God. When do I want to be married? 31.
All right. Well, it is up to you. That's the other thing. Should women propose? That's a whole other ball game. But
Yeah, sure. Why not?
You
You
would say yes.
I fear what's going to happen because how my relationship works. I think what's going to happen is somewhere down the line, she's going to say, is this going to happen? And we'll be like, sure. And then we'll go to a ring shop together. I don't think there's going to be a whole sunset one knee.
That's what I'm going to do.
To me?
No. He is going to.
So he's going, you're not going to?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to, opposed to him.
No.
No, that I genuinely don't think there'll be a time where I get down on one knee. It's going to be are we getting married or are we just wasting time? And I'll say, let's get married.
But
it'll be like sitting on the sofa watching Netflix.
You can change that narrative.
How?
Ask her the question. Take her out for dinner. Buy a ring. Ask the question.
It's a lot of spending there, Anya.
That's a lot of spending. Or do you not?
I don't know. Such a hard question, Anya.
Anyway, marriage is weird. It's all a bit backwards. I do think it will change eventually. But at the moment, thank you, passing motorbike. But at the moment, it kind of works, doesn't it? Like, no one has real problems with it. It's not like anyone's offended by marriage.
You get a party.
You get to
celebrate a couple of parties.
Yeah, you get to celebrate two people that love each other, and like, what's not to love about
Get
love?
the bevs in.
Exactly. So at the moment, I think it works fine. I think if anything, like the sexist and weird reasons as to why marriage was set up in the first place have kind of been diluted. Like, they're not really about it anymore. They're there, but they're not about it.
Would you be okay having a kid before marriage?
Yeah, sure.
Because back in the day, that wasn't okay.
Yeah, they have a very rude name for that.
Well, it's called wetlock.
Is
or
it?
wedlock. I know the term that you're approaching.
Out of
yes.
wedlock.
Yeah. I don't know if it's wetlock or wedlock.
I thought it was wedlock. You've had it.
I don't know.
Wed for wedding lock.
That's what I imagine now, but wet, I said first, and I kind of said with confidence.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
so you wouldn't have an issue with that? You wouldn't mind having a bastard child?
Are we allowed to say that word on this podcast?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
No, I wouldn't mind. I don't think that's really an issue anymore, is it? That was a whole religion thing, how you couldn't
That
have
was
a
a religion
child
thing.
before.
That's
'cause you
sex before
You
marriage.
couldn't have sex before marriage. Well,
Yeah.
now it's not really a thing anymore, is it?
I still think people are getting married before kids. I think because the surname of the child.
Well,
I think that's why people are getting married before having a kid.
I don't know. No, I would call the child his name.
You just instantly adopt the child to the surname. All right.
Yeah, I would. I don't think it really
Interesting.
makes a difference. I think if anything, it is a financial thing more so. Like if you get married first, have some time building your savings together, you get a house that has 2 rooms instead of 1 room, then you're ready. You're ready for that child. So that's
your
my
man
thought
cave, Anya.
process. My
Your
man
podcast studio. That's the point of that.
lived in a man cave. This is not a man cave.
But you need your podcast studio, Anya, for your
I do.
second room.
I need my podcast.
You have to buy a place with 3 bedrooms.
No, that is the converted shed, but it won't be a shed. It'll be a studio in the
Beautiful.
garden.
It'll be beautiful.
Anyway, Tom.
Anyway, Anya.
So we've spoken a lot about monogamy, relationships, long-term relationships. Does it work? Does it not? Marriage, is it outdated? But I wanted to leave you guys listening.
Just stop there. I wanted to leave you, Tom.
I just wanted to, let's leave this.
Tom, we've been recording now for 40 minutes. I've wanted to leave you.
I wanted to leave you
Sounded like my girlfriend.
with something more upbeat, something more fun, which we put up on our Instagram. On
Space Jam 2 pictures have been released. Yeah,
No.
I'm not too sure how I stand with the new animation figures, but I'll love the film regardless. I just think it looks too hyper realistic.
Okay.
What do you think?
I do not care.
Oh, you hit it well.
Yeah.
Was that not what you were talking about?
No!
Oh.
We put on our Instagram at We Are Audiobox a few would you rather questions about personality traits you would want or preferably would want in a relationship that would last a long time.
Yes.
And I found this very interesting, and I think I'm going to start with the last one that I put up just to round off the conversation that we finished having, which was, would you rather be in a marriage in future, or would you rather just have a non-marital partnership, aka you're with that person for life, they are your partner in life, but you're not going to put a ring on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually really shocked by this answer, because although we've spoken about all of the things that aren't correct about marriage, and we've argued the case of maybe we are polyamorous primates within our primal habits.
Okay.
100% of you guys listening that answered the poll said that you would rather be married in future. You want to be wedded down. You want that
Ringed up.
Ringed up, wedded down, whatever you want to say. You're married. You would rather have that status than not get married and just have that life partner, but you haven't got the status of Mr. and Mrs. and the same surname.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was a little bit crazy, because I definitely thought that there would be at least one person out there who has the view of marriage is outdated. But clearly not. Clearly we all know it. We all know it, but yet we're still okay with it.
I don't know if it is outdated. Why would it be outdated?
This is the conclusion that I think we came to, was we know that some parts of it are outdated. Like, it came from a very outdated, backwards society, but that we have evolved then, and those parts of getting married have really diluted. Like, they're not really a part of it anymore. So we don't really think about what it once was. It's just evolved to be what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and like we said also, it's nice, isn't it? Getting married is nice. Like, if you get invited
See,
to a
that's why I
wedding,
don't
it's
understand
like,
why it'd be outdated. It's all of it's a nice event. It's the joining of two people who want to spend the rest of their lives together.
I just thought there'd be one person that's like, it's just not for me. Because we are
Not for me, chap.
We do live in such a, well, not too accepting world, but we're way more accepting and like less, I guess, strict in our ways now. For example, you can have sex before marriage without people judging. That some people might not want to get married, and that's okay. Like, you're not going to be judged for having that opinion. It's your opinion. Like, if some people don't want to have kids, that's fine. You don't want to have kids, that's cool. We're not going to judge you. So I just thought there'd be that one person, but clearly not. Anyway, let's park marriage, because it ain't happening for a while, is it, Tom?
I don't know. Who knows? She might propose to me next week.
Wow. So we asked you a few, in a relationship, would you rather have this trait or that trait? These absolutely, they were so challenging. When I put them up,
Why were they so challenging?
Because I put up 2 that were good traits, like choosing between 2 good traits, and 2 that were bad traits, but like which one would you rather have over the other?
Which is the worst trait?
Yeah. No, yeah. Which one would you rather have in the relationship? Yeah.
But which is the worst that you wouldn't vote for?
No, the one that you would vote for, because you'd rather have that in the
you
relationship.
wouldn't vote for the one that's the bad one.
Yeah, you wouldn't vote for the one that's the bad one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Glad we got that sorted. So, I just found them really tricky. So the first one, let's just jump into it. In a relationship.
Yeah.
Was that your end or my end?
It's probably my end.
Should I just say that again?
Shouting now.
So let's just jump straight into it so we can discuss. So I put for the first one. In a relationship, would you rather have trust or kindness?
I said trust.
I said kindness.
I don't care how kind someone is if I can't trust them.
I think with kindness, it just makes me a lot, I don't know, it's just,
you can be fake kind and I won't appreciate that.
Yeah, but I don't want to be with someone that's unkind to me.
But you're happy to be with someone who you don't trust.
But just because I don't trust them doesn't mean that they're doing untrustworthy things. I just don't trust them. I don't want to be with someone that's not kind to me and doesn't treat me with kindness. And with kindness comes respect. I don't like
respect's
that.
a different part. You can have respect as a separate issue.
Okay, fine. We'll have respect as a different issue. But I would rather be with someone that is kind and untrustworthy.
I would rather have someone trustworthy.
And not kind to you. So you trust them. You trust them not to cheat on you, but they're not going to be kind to you in the morning. They're going to call you names and they're going to be moody with you. And they're just not kind to you. They just treat you with disrespect.
Fine.
I know it's not disrespect. But it kind of is. They do kind of come hand in hand in a lot of cases.
But Anya, I think the Tune Squad really spoke out for this one.
They did. So the kids said, you guys out there listening who voted for this poll, 64% of you would rather have trust in a relationship, and 36% of you would rather have kindness.
I think most relationships break up because there's a lack of trust in the relationship.
But also, surely you break up because someone's just being really unkind to you. Imagine every single day someone's just like, meh, to you. You don't feel loved, you don't feel content, you don't feel heard, you don't have that intimacy.
Just like a day in the office at Audio Box, Anya. It's like a day in a bar.
I'm kind to you. Chill out.
Get the texts up. Get the receipts out.
Okay, we're moving on. The next one is, in a relationship, would you rather have empathy or humour? This one's slightly easier, I think, to choose from.
I said empathy.
I put empathy as well.
Okay.
I think it's more important for somebody to understand you.
To be heard. To be wanted, yeah.
And like be on the same emotional level as you. I think that's more important. It's a more like base level, you know, when you're ground.
Do you think you personally are more empathetic than humorous?
I don't think I am a very funny person.
But you also don't think you're very empathetic.
I'm empathetic. I just don't think I'm like very comedic. As in, I don't really crack jokes. I'm not like the wittiest of people.
I think I try to use humour to almost like emulate empathy.
Yeah, interesting.
And
get
but
that.
I would prefer someone who didn't try to make jokes to cheer me up when I'm in a sad place. But that's exactly what I do.
But I do like.
So I voted for what I'm not in this scenario.
Yeah, I would say that you're more humorous than
Empathetic, 100%.
empathetic. Just because in my life, I would say, and this is a compliment, I would say that you're probably one of the funniest people that I know. So you're very welcome.
I'm gonna
But
clip this up and save it forever.
I would say humor's your thing.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes you use it because you genuinely are just funny and witty. But that's like also your guard a lot of the time. It's like
100%.
you
Hide
use
behind.
humor
Yeah.
to like hide behind everything else that is going
Yeah.
on in your life. Like you
And I think
use
that's
it to deflect
a big issue for me.
awkward issues. You use it to deflect serious issues. It's like it's
Yes.
almost just that. I don't want to deal with anything that's serious.
100%. There's a song by Passenger. I can't tell you the actual song, but he says he hides behind his jokes as a form of protection, and I 100% think I do that. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's not a good thing. It's something I'm trying to work on, trying to be more open instead of
Trying
just
to be
hiding it
more
by jokes.
Empathetic.
Because I think I will grow as a person if I like show emotion rather than make bad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, but it's a stepping stone.
You're working
We're
on
getting
it.
there. We're getting there.
You have
I've acknowledged
reflected
the
on
issue.
it. Acknowledged it, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
I would say that so the answer is from everyone that
There is
answered
no
the poll
answer.
is that 60% of you would rather have empathy in a relationship than humor in a relationship, which shocks me a lot because I think that when people talk about relationships, it's like, oh, I just want somebody that can make me laugh. Like you could literally
Yes.
laugh me into bed, blah, 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 all of those lines. But actually, when it comes down to it, and after the like 3 first dates, or probably longer, like after the 6 months of dating, where it's like, oh, you're just trying to be funny and your best self, relationships are serious. Like you have to live with that person for the rest of your life, and if that person's just going to be cracking jokes and actually can't talk to you on a serious level about emotions and understand you and be empathetic in your situations, then it's not going to work, you know? You can live without humour, but they're not on the same page as you. Got an issue.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Anyway, so everyone voted empathy.
So we have 60% of people voted empathy and 40% voted
the correct
humour.
answer.
So the next two are I'm just gonna wait for the door to stand. The next two are what is the most favourable bad trait that you would want. So would you rather in a relationship have laziness or close-mindedness?
100% laziness.
I said 100% laziness as well. I think
100% laziness.
just for obvious reasons, like if you're closed-minded, then you're not going to be. Well, haha, look at me go.
You can't grow in a relationship with
Exactly.
closed-mindedness, but you can be
Yeah.
lazy. I'm
Yeah.
lazy.
Laziness is annoying. Like it's annoying, an annoying pet peeve and habit that people have, but it doesn't stop you from growing. It's just annoying.
Yeah, it can be an inconvenience, but as a personal trait, it's not the worst.
Yeah. Oh, let me get them. Hang on. Oh, well, can you just put them downstairs for like 10 minutes? Okay. So, let me just go back onto the stories. So many stories today. Okay. So, I think the majority of people agree with where we're coming from. So, 67% of you guys said that you would rather have laziness in a relationship than closed-minded, which was 33%.
It's crazy that 33% of people preferred closed-mindedness than lazy.
Maybe that's because they've never been with someone that's closed-minded, though, or I don't know.
So they're seeing that as a preferable because they've been with someone who's lazy.
Potentially. I don't know. Maybe some people.
Maybe it's
really
about making
hate
the
it.
effort. Someone who's closed-minded can still make the effort. Someone who's lazy won't make the effort.
That's true. That's very true. But
Maybe.
if you're closed-minded, then you're never going to change. And if you don't change your bad traits, or maybe they're great.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a great person. They're great as they are, and they don't
God,
want
I'm
to change.
jealous.
So they're just closed-minded. They just don't need to
Yeah.
change.
So
Anyway,
what's the next one?
the last one is, in a relationship, would you rather be with someone who is cocky or negative?
I said cocky. I think I could deal with cocky. Being full of yourself is annoying and obnoxious, but it's better than negative all the time, being a negative and Nelly.
I totally agree with you. I think that cockiness can be annoying, but there's something about it which is like almost admirable at times. It's like you're willing
Like, I thought you were going to say attractive, and I was like, wow.
Well, it can be sometimes. Like when somebody's just so, like, backs themselves so hard, like they just think that they're amazing.
Yeah.
And I think there is something admirable about that. Like, you don't come across too many people.
I think there's a difference between being sure of yourself and being cocky.
Yeah, definitely. It is rude sometimes. Like if you're...
So that's the issue. That's what I did struggle with this one. Because negative does affect me. If someone's negative in mine, I will very much work off of someone else's energy.
affects your mood.
So yeah, exactly. So if you were a negative Nelly, I think this podcast would become much more negative than it already is. Whereas you bring a lot of positivity, and so that does affect my energy, and I try to reciprocate the positive energy back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you were negative, so I can't remember where I was going with this.
Cockiness.
Yes.
I think you made your point.
Yeah. So yeah. No. So negative, if it doesn't affect you, if it's not something, if you don't work with someone else's energy, and they're just a bit depressed sometimes, you can work around that, and then the cockiness might just be too apprehensive, and then that might grate on you all the time. And cockiness could also reflect like body image. They're just spending their time on their hair, makeup, all of that stuff, and just like, I can't be bothered with this high maintenance cockiness. That's why I was like, would negative be better or would cockiness be better? And I think cockiness is better in this scenario for me.
I think I agree, and also I've had first-hand experience of somebody being negative all the time, and it's so draining, especially if you are a positive person, to like have to keep picking them up, and like that's straining. That is so draining on your energy. So energy level wise, I would definitely choose cockiness, because I know that high maintenance and people being rude is annoying. But I'd rather be annoyed than depressed. I think that's the conclusion.
Yeah. So would I.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the end of the extensive polls. I put up quite a few, but maybe it's made up for forgetting last week.
Nice.
So
you didn't need to
sorry.
mention it again.
But
Didn't need to
also, also it was fun to talk about different traits. Couldn't just put one up, could I? I had to talk about a few of them. There's so many of them out there. So,
and if people want to get involved with next week's polls, where can they go?
Check us out. Oh my god, my tummy. Check us out at We Are Audiobox on Instagram, and we put up a poll every Monday or Tuesday, depends on.
Well, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see when we put it up.
Exactly. Check out our stories and just have your say. Like, this is your way of getting, I guess, your voice involved in the podcast.
Yeah, get in touch, get involved.
Yeah.
Make it your own. Well, guys, Tune Squatters, we have made it to the end of another great episode. We have done it. Thank you very much for listening. You've been great. Anya's been great. I've also been possibly the best in this show of all time. Okay. So thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week. I beg your pardon? Did I say you could talk? No, I did not. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week with another great episode. Have a great week, everyone. Do we want to mention we've got a live on this Sunday?
Yes. But how do we go about that?
We will be live on Sunday the 14th, Mother's Day.
Yeah, on Bullhorn. So download the app.
On Bullhorn. Download the app.
And check us out on Instagram for links.
Sure.
Or for more details. Okay, I'll say okay. Ready.
Okay.
Ready.
I can't remember where I threw off.
I'll just be like, but wait, Tom.
Another great episode.
Oh yeah, okay, you go then.
I can't remember. You just interrupt.
Right,
I think I left on a high.
Okay. But wait, Tom. Also, we must not forget to tell the kids that we are actually going. Sorry, Tune Scholars.
Yeah.
You lovely
the kid
people.
goes away.
You lovely people listening. That we are actually going live over on Bullhorn, a lovely podcast app, which does live streams now for podcasters. Very cool. We're going live on Sunday the 14th, so in a few days' time after
Mother's
this
Day.
episode is out, the one you are listening to right now. And we're going live and doing like a little live What Adults Don't Tell You Before You Adults episode.
At 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m. Sorry, Tom was holding fingers up and I was like, why has he got 4 fingers up? Sorry, I forgot to tell you the time.
I don't think he's going to throw in the time. 4 p.m. BST?
GMT.
GMTV?
Meantime. Anyway, in the UK, just
CITV?
Look it up. Google it. Google the time difference wherever you're listening, and come and join us because Bullhorn's live stream is really cool. You can interact. You can call us during the live, and
you get your voice heard.
You can literally be on the podcast. So simple. We're going to put up live polls throughout the conversation. We're also going to open up chat boxes and question boxes, so you can fully have your say now on our
It's a really
episodes.
cool experience.
Very
really
cool.
cool experience. Do get involved. Do join us this Sunday, March 14th at 4 p.m. British time, whatever that works out to be in your time zone. Do join us. It will be a great spectacle. So do join us, Tune Squatters. Do join us.
But for now, bye, kids.
Bye-bye.